Hey everybody, Jim Ingersoll here with the Real Estate Success Podcast, hanging out with a couple of friends from the beautiful city of Dallas, Texas area, Max Keller and Glenn Stromberg, who I've known a long time. And we're going to dig into things like investing in wobbly wheels and mobile homes and all kinds of things where you can create cash flow with very little capital. And then oftentimes you're going to be able to double the cash flow at an even cheaper investment price. So you're going to love all of that. Now, I want to thank all of you guys that are regular listeners, whether you're listening at the gym today or you're in your car or wherever you're at. We really appreciate you guys. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to hit that subscribe button right now. That YouTube universe is growing very quickly for us, and it's been great. If you're watching in iTunes, go back and listen and leave us a review as well. You guys are awesome. We're also about half full for Dealmaker 2020 Live, and that's coming up February 6th to the 8th, which isn't that far away anymore. It's going to sell out 100%. We've moved to a new venue this year. I'm certain that even with our extra capacity, we're going to be sold out probably in a few months, the way things are rolling. So if you're already registered, thank you. And if not, go to dealmakerlive2020.com and register to join us. How are you, Max and Glenn?
I'm doing great, Jim. How about you?
Good, good. How about you, Max?
Yeah, feeling good.
Money Max is always good.
Yes, I'm always pretty happy.
You are. Well, you got a beautiful family, so you've got good reason to be, don't you?
Yeah, especially with the way I look. I mean, so I really lucked out. Fortunately, you don't have to be beautiful to invest in mobile homes.
There you go. Yes, I got you. And Glenn, you and I have known each other a while. I think we met at a Mastermind, probably David Phelps, Freedom Founders, or somewhere along the line.
Yes.
Maybe 10 years ago.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And let me say this, Jim. I'll tell you what, I wanted to say this to you. You know, I've been a big fan of yours for a long time. And it's funny, I run into people, you know, I'm in, I don't know, 5-6 masterminds and stuff. And there's so many people have said that you were the reason that they got into real estate and were successful. And so I'm serious. And I mean that sincerely. And you've done an awesome job. I've watched your podcasts and they're great. So keep up the good work.
I remember you told me, of course, we both know Larry Goins, but I remember you said you watched that and some things connected right from that podcast. Am I accurate?
You're absolutely accurate. Yes, sir. That is absolutely right. Got some really good ideas from that podcast, and you know, you never stop learning, you never stop growing, and absolutely, your podcast is one that I don't miss very often.
Well, I really appreciate it, and it's nice to be able to hang out with you again, Max. This is your second time on the podcast.
That's right. You know, and back to the Dealmaker. You know who was at your Dealmaker group? I don't know how many years it's been now. And I was on deal number 1. Yep. I had finished the ink was still wet on my first wholesale deal. I met you, started joining masterminds. Now we're over 100 deals in the last 3 years, and we're solely focused on mobile homes. And you know, I became an author, multiple books. But when I started, it was just you. You introduced me to a lot of people. So Jim knows a lot of people. Get plugged in and definitely go to the event in February, because when I was there, it was sold out. And that's when I met everybody. And now some of those people there that were speaking are calling me asking for advice.
Isn't that amazing? I love it.
Never would have imagined it.
Your network is your net worth. That's what I always say, and it's just a fact.
Absolutely.
So I want to go back to your backstories a little bit. Glenn, you've been in mobile homes for like decades, right? I mean, that's kind of like where you really bit into it like 30, 40 years ago, right?
Yeah, Jim, actually, you know, I always laugh about this. It's been 37 years. I used to say I started at 5, and then I said I was old. But now I like to say I'm just seasoned, okay?
Yeah.
Just to give your audience a background, I've been in virtually every aspect of mobile homes. I've owned a mobile home park. I've developed mobile home subdivisions. At one time, a partner and I, we had 13 retail sales centers, which is like a car dealership. They would come buy the mobile homes, put them on the land. And then I had a Clayton franchise for 15 years. And so indirectly, I was partners with Warren Buffett because he bought Clayton Homes. And
there you go.
It was a great company, great franchise. And we've been doing our current model here since 2006, which is buying primarily double-wide manufactured homes on land. They're real estate. They have a deed of trust or a mortgage, depending on the state. We're actually buying in 5 states right now: Texas, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Virginia. And so business is great. We're doing 10 to 15 a month. And Max and I are here to teach. We're really excited about our program, about our mentoring coaching program, because you know, there's a lot of guys out there that just teach theory. They're not doing it. we're doing it every day. We can plug them into our team, and we really think we could change a lot of lives and really create some win-win situations with our coaching program. So,
I mean, it's amazing to look back. Can you believe, Glenn, you've been doing this for like 37 years, involved with wobbly wheels, mobile homes?
And I take offense to wobbly wheels.
I just like the way it sounds.
I know. No, we affectionately call it wheel estate. Okay.
There you go. I like it.
In our traction or in our VTO, we always say, if it didn't come with wheels, we don't buy it. Right. But what we buy, though, seriously, and this is something we do need to define for your listeners, is that the properties we buy are 1,400 to 2,200 square feet. They're beautiful. You wouldn't know you're in a manufactured home in a lot of them. They're on anywhere from 1/3 of an acre to 2-acre tracts. Lots of land, it's the most affordable housing, and we fix them up like new. And I always tell this story too because it's a good one, and it really made me realize what I got. My dad was a mason contractor and a builder in Chicago, and he came to Texas one time, looked at 15 of my properties, and he went, "Man, I had no idea they were like this. These are built better than the track houses in Chicago." And I was like, I told you. So that's awesome. Kind of an overview. Yeah.
All right, Max, I know your backstory a little bit because you were a math teacher.
Yeah, that's right. Which helps a lot in real estate because there's a lot of math.
There is. I mean, I studied math and science with my engineering degree. I get it.
Right.
And you were like teacher of the year. You were a good teacher.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember that when you made the transition too. So take us back in time a little and talk about how that worked.
Yeah. So, half of my career has been in teaching and, like you said, math and coaching. And then half of it has been in real estate now. And when I decided to leave, I actually had no plans of leaving teaching. I loved it. Like you said, I was good at it and I just enjoyed it. I worked at an inner city school and taught algebra and geometry. And like I said, I really, really loved helping the kids, but I would need to make a little bit more income. And so everybody was like, real estate, maybe it. A friend of mine had bought a rent house. He had a big family like mine. He bought a rental, just your normal kind of deal, saved up, put 20% down, leaned into a kind of a thin deal that was cash flowing maybe 150, 200 kind of situation. I said, well, maybe I could do that. I could save up, get a rental a year. And then, like Glenn is an example of, time moves pretty fast. You never know. You can just jump high. And before you know it, you've got some rentals stacked up. So that was my plan. And then I wholesaled my first deal, found a local mentor, wholesaled my first deal, met you and you went to your boot camp, met people there, joined a mastermind, and just kept, I could just see the writing on the wall. This was going to be a lot bigger. And so I just went full time. And then kind of where I've been at for the last 3 years is in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I flipped, wholesaled, and rented over 100 houses. So, we weren't, some huge conglomerate, but we had a little office, about 3 people working in our office. We were doing, 3 to 4 months, pretty steady. And what happened was I met Glenn at a mastermind, and he would stand up and talk about, the best kept secret in real estate investing and talk about mobile homes. And, everybody there was like in the mastermind really liked what he had to say. And then we all kind of like went back to our hometown and just did like what we were always doing. And so the pivot for me was I'm in the same market as Glenn. One year I paid about $100,000 in direct mail, to get all the single family. And it was like every year, the margins were getting smaller and smaller. They had, there's just so many people wanting to overpay, the contractor prices, on and on. So Glenn said, hey, if you have some extra leads, since we're in the same area, give us your throwaway leads for mobile homes. So I did. I got a mobile home lead. I gave it to him. I gave it to his acquisitions guy, Mike. And I started to like call his acquisitions guy and ask him questions about it and go over the numbers. And the money was awesome. And the best ratio is your effort to return ratio. I think that it's important for people to take a look at that. It's not always just the total money. It's what efforts did you have to put in to get that money. And the effort to return ratio was so much better. And I went to Glenn. I said, this is maybe, I don't know, a year ago, 18 months ago. I said, Glenn, why? I'm thinking about just doing straight mobile homes. Why have I been messing around with single family? And he's like, I know, I've been telling you. And so and I said, well, then when I started doing these deals and finding out how good they are, I'm like, well, why haven't you ever taught this to other people? I mean, there are so many people who are struggling to get good deals and good margins in a lot of these cities. They would, if if, all these things are true, it's like, why would you not teach people how to do this? And he said, well, I did before, but that's not so much my forte. And that's okay. I think it's really important to know where your like competency is and where the edge is. Charlie Munger says, know where your edge of competency is. And when it's outside of that, you got to bring somebody else in. I was like, well, I'm doing deals. I'm not doing 10 to 15 a month like you are, but I have a really high competency in teaching people how to do it. And so it just came together like Batman and Robin, peanut butter and jelly. And now we're doing that. And it's good. It's helping people because people need a lot of help out there. Because the dream of getting these $50,000 flips in these big areas, it's starting to vaporize. Mm-hmm. And this is a way that we've been able to steer people into this if it's their first time. Here's the part I like, and I'll close with this, and I'll let you ask something else because I talk too much. I'm sorry, but I'm so excited. But I used to teach inner city school. I taught the kids who were at the very top. One of my students, a valedictorian, he's at Princeton. Nothing against those kids. I love them. But I like working with the kids who are really struggling. I got more of a cheerleader personality. And those kids who are struggling, you had to put them in a place where they could be successful. You know what I mean? They got to start seeing some wins and some victories. And I feel like there's a lot of people out there right now that are trying to wholesale. They're trying to do single family. And if they're struggling, what we're saying with mobile homes is that it's more simple. It's not as complicated. We're not syndicating big apartment deals. So you don't have to be a NASA scientist to figure out mobile homes. It's a lot more basic. And I feel like that's good for people who are starting out. And I think it's good for people who are existing.
All right. So let's get into that in a few minutes here. But I want to go back to like when you and Glenn first met, Glenn and Max, you guys went to the Mastermind, you came back, you had this idea. How did you guys proceed in coming up with the concept and then the product offering for the coaching and mentoring that you're doing now with Mobile Vested? Like, how did that first meeting go?
There's a long story there, but here's what really happened. Okay. Yeah. At first, like Max said, I said, no, really, my company, we're crushing it right now. There's really no reason to do this. And he said, no, you don't understand. He goes, this is what I was born to do. I'm a teacher, I'm a coach. And the people who know Max know that's true. Okay. And he was the perfect guy to run this thing for me. He's done a great job of getting the information out of my head. We've got like a 7-hour online course that we have. And of course we have another upper level program too. But I also looked at it, Jim, I'm at that stage of life now to where I take mentoring very seriously, and I really feel it's my turn to give back. And this was my way to do it. And, the mastermind groups that I'm in, I just hear so many single family home guys that are struggling right now because they can't get the margins, the contractors, the whole thing. And we're still buying 80% of our stuff off the MLS. I mean, we don't have the competition the other people do. And so that this thing just kind of came together. We believe it was God that put us together and we put this thing. And so we're excited about it. And we want to create win-wins and change lives. That's what we're looking to do.
So really the partnership started that day and then it's just been pretty rosy since then. How long ago was that?
Max, go ahead. You can take it from here.
Yeah, well, I think we started talking about Mobile Vested and teaching this to other people and really joining forces maybe nearly a year ago. And then it's just sort of evolved from then. And then it took a while, obviously, to get all of this, out of Glenn's head. I sort of joked and said, 37 years, that's all that's in there. But he's like, well, I told you, like, it's simple. And I was like, I like that. Like, Albert Einstein said that one level above genius is simple. And so I understand how to, skip trace, 14 different lists and then, reverse target pixels and redirect Facebook ads and all the things that you have to do to get single family deals in Dallas, Fort Worth, and a lot of cities. I know how to do all that stuff because you had to, right? But what was so interesting about the process is I would interview him on things that I didn't know. Like, I'm in Texas. So, I mean, like everybody's done mobile home deals, but I wasn't making it my full-time living and, on my investing stuff. And, when Glenn would tell me these things, like, I'm like, tell us about the rehabs. How long are those? And he's like, well, most of them are like, we're done in they're like $10,000 to $15,000 rehabs, less than 30 days. And I'm like, I'm doing some rehabs on the single family stuff that we're 9 months in, we're $80,000, we're rerouting sewer pipes. And he's like, yeah, we don't have any of that stuff. Like if there's a pipe problem, which there never is, because it's 1990 or newer is what we're mostly buying. So it's just PVC. We just take the skirt off and crawl underneath and fix it. And it was just like it was really interesting for me. I didn't even fully understand how valuable this was until we started getting into all the details, the 37 years of details. And it was interesting because Glenn was on the other side. He didn't really understand how bad it was or can be on the single family side because he hadn't done those. So I'm over there, I got 6 or 8 flips out at one time, and it's just like brain damage after brain damage of issues. And so he didn't really understand how good mobile homes were. And then I didn't either, if that makes sense. So it was this really neat, like 2 months of just sharing with each other what our struggles were and what our advantages were. And then when we got done with everything, we were like, oh my goodness, like this is going to help a lot of people. Now, if you're in North Dakota, I mean, is it going to help you as much as if you're in Virginia or North Carolina or one of the states that we're in, all throughout the Southeast and stuff, just South? No, not as much. We're not saying that, but there's the second question I asked Glenn when we were talking about this coaching. I said, how many mobile homes are there? And he's like, I have no idea. I'm like, well, you got to know. And it's almost 10 million. If you go on, it's a lot. And here's another thing I found out. Mobile homes there's 20 million people estimated to live in mobile homes. In some of the states that we're in, 1 in 5 people who live in that state live in mobile homes. And, we talk about affordable housing, and Ben Carson and a lot of other people are trying to figure out, we got a problem here. So mobile homes are nearly 10% of the U.S. housing stock, according to U.S. Housing Survey. If you take apartments out, because some people just don't want to live in an apartment, they want a house. Mobile homes are nearly 20%. And if you take non-affordable homes, single-family homes out, they're almost 30%. So it's a big chunk of the affordable housing area. So that's what's cool, is that we can go and buy these houses, pick them off the MLS when everybody else has to go through all these different hoops to buy houses. And then when we're selling them, we're providing affordable housing to widowers, to veterans, to seniors, to people that need help. And we think that the demand for affordable housing, I don't know what the next 10 years is going to look like. I can't predict into the future, and anybody who does probably be a little dubious of. But what I think is not going to change is affordable housing. I think people are actually just going to need more of it. And so since this is so affordable, this is where I'm going to be camping out because I like it.
So some of the misconceptions of mobile home investing is, and I've invested in mobile homes too. You could do a Lonnie deal, go buy one in a park, just sell it with financing. I don't really like that model personally. I like what you guys are doing with the mobile home and the land attached together. Because then it's more than just a mobile home, it's also land, and I like land.
Right.
Do you see that as a better niche than, Glenn, the land and the mobile home together?
Not even close, Jim, of course. Yeah. And people ask me, well, don't mobile homes depreciate? And the answer is always yes and no. If it's a personal property mobile home, they absolutely depreciate, just like a car. The Deals on Wheels stuff, that's a depreciating asset. Now, there is, for the person who wants to do it, it can be really, in some areas, that could work really, really well.
It's a good ROI until something goes wrong.
Yeah, exactly. But, like I say, what we're buying, it's got a deed of trust or a mortgage, a title commitment. And, as far as appreciation goes, of course, the Dallas-Fort Worth area here has been a crazy, we've been through a crazy hyperbolic type of deal. But properties I bought in 2012, 11 and 12 for $60,000 are worth $120,000, $150,000 now. So they appreciate like crazy. It goes up and down with the site-built housing industry. It used to be here that a brick house was probably 150, 175. Well, now that same brick house is three and a quarter, right? So it goes up and down with the market. And the beauty of it is too, Jim, is that in 2008 when the crash hit, when the crash hit and everything else, it didn't hurt us at all. I mean, when there's not enough buyers, there's more renters, and everybody needs affordable housing. We have a lot of people that lease houses from us that have 6-figure incomes. So it's an acre tract of land, nice, more square footage for the dollar. We have people lined up for our houses too. That's the beauty.
So sort of recession proof, you think?
I think it's, and I always feel a little bit weird saying this, but I think it's 100% recession proof. Okay.
A big point.
I don't know how you feel.
It's a big benefit. I don't know, because someday we're going to level off and come back down a little bit.
You know, the charts say we got to have a reset, right? It can't keep going up forever. It's unaffordable in so many parts of America. And there's two things people are always going to do. They're going to eat and they're going to have a roof over their head. Everything else is negotiable, but those two aren't negotiable. And we have the most affordable housing. So yeah, I believe it's recession proof.
So let's talk about the acquisition side, because like single family homes, if you got to buy land and then you got to buy the mobile home on top of it, you know, it isn't free. So you got to be able to come up with some private money or some financing or get seller financing. What are some of the acquisition side financing models you guys like to teach people how to do?
You want me to take that, Max?
Sure, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, in our program, we teach wholesale, we teach fix and flip. Okay, my company's model is we try to keep roughly 30 to 40% of them for ourselves. Okay, I'm a big advocate of private lenders, just like you. I haven't used a bank in 15 years. Okay,
awesome.
We have investors lined up for our properties. So we have one model to where it's a buy and hold model. We do a 5-year interest only note. Our investors make double-digit returns on that. Then we have another model where we turnkey it. So it's a quick flip. We turnkey it to our investors. We tell our investors, you know, you are totally passive. They don't do nothing. All they do is wire the money to the title company and look at their statement when we send them the check. That's what.
And they're secured through the land, correct?
Absolutely. There's a deed of trust and a mortgage, just like there is on a single family house. So
if one of our listeners right now would be interested in that program, should they email you? I know you're not looking for funding, Glenn, but I mean, would you?
Sure. They could absolutely do that. We're like I say, we're doing 10 to 15 a month, and we think with our coaching program, we'll probably get it up to 40 to 50 a month. We really believe that. So they'll always be, you know, we're always looking for investor money too. Sure.
Okay. All righty. So that's the acquisition side. You just finance privately. You get secured. I like the way that you described that, Glenn. That's like almost, I don't want to say a micro loan, but it's a very small loan amount, really, for a lot of people with self-directed IRAs and stuff. And it's a short-term loan. 5 years is not very long.
Right.
And then it's paid off.
Yeah, and I would say probably 30 to 40% of our business is IRA. You know, the rest of it's outside of IRAs. So yeah, we have a lot of IRA, investors. So use our IRAs for it.
What do you think are some of the better exit strategies? I mean, because you could rent, you could sell it with owner financing. You mentioned wholesale. You can also flip them. Which ones do you see as best for people just getting started?
Yeah. Let me say one thing, Max, then I'm going to let you chime in here too. Okay. I believe, and this is what I see all over the country in the Mastermind group. I think fix and flip, man, it can be great sometimes, right? You can make good money on fix and flip, right? But it can be a very high paying job, sometimes a low paying job. You're not going to build wealth that way, right?
Agreed.
I got into real estate, and what we're trying to teach is, I love the buy and hold strategy. I love the rental game. I love renting out. What I did was I copied what everybody did good out there in property management. I interviewed a ton of people, and if you get the right tenants, it's real easy. It's real simple. If you get the wrong tenants, you get your brains beat in. We do criminal background checks, credit checks, employment. We make sure we get the right people in the houses, and we have little to no problems. And that's why we do the 5-year note, because milk, eggs, bread, butter, real estate go up over time. But if you don't give it time to go up, you don't build the wealth, right? We look up and we have millions of dollars of equity now in our properties, and that is the beauty. I got into real estate because I want to make money while I'm sleeping. I'm not opposed to seller financing. I think that can be a great model, but you're locking in your profits then. You don't have the upside. You don't have the upside. So that's why I prefer the rental side better.
So do I, Glenn. We're on the same page with single families and apartments too. I agree on all of that. Right. Max, how about yourself?
Yeah. So,
do you feel these mobiles, Max, specifically, do you feel these mobiles make great housing for somebody and a good rental for a landlord?
Yes, I think they do for a myriad of reasons. One of them is that, when folks are trying to get rentals and they're building their portfolio, some of the prices of these homes, there's two problems. One, they're just very high for single family brick homes to just purchase. And then two, they're just not cash flowing very well. And cash flow, is the margin that you have as you're running your property in case something happens. So, one of the things I like about the mobile homes and what I think they make the mobile homes on land that are tied directly, you get to participate in that upside in the appreciation because they're tied together. It's a more secure, instrument, but you're also buying them for like less than half the price. So I feel like it's a really cool asset class for folks who aren't super rich yet and not accredited investors. There's such a focus out there with people who are making, 250, 300 a year and above. But what about the people who are just used to be math teachers? How are they supposed to get rentals? Well, they learn mobile homes, they can because they're going to pay a lot less. And, the mobile homes that we're selling, we're not selling them to anybody unless they're cash flowing $400 a month. And a lot of the people who are selling single family, maybe they're cash flowing like $200. But we're also buying them for half of the price. So when you factor that in, it's like 4x difference. So they cash flow a lot better because we're able to get these great discounts. We're able to fix them up like new. It doesn't, these are 1990 and newer. I mean, Jim, how many of the houses that you work on for fix and flip are 1990 and newer?
I mean, my rentals too. Yeah, they're not.
And so these are newer homes that we're buying. Some of these they're in the 2000s. And so when we do a cosmetic rehab, you go inside, now look, before 1990, we teach our students this, it's more hit or miss. The reason mobile homes get a bad name is because in the 60s and the 70s and some of the 80s, they weren't built to the same standards. They weren't tied down to concrete. Now, 1990 and newer, the game changed. Like when Hurricane Florence went through the Carolinas, we have a friend of ours that works for a company that fixes these houses up. And they had like 30 mobile homes in their portfolio and they were almost unscathed. They're tied down 42 places, 42 attachment points to the concrete. So there's just been so many changes. I don't think people really understand how nice they are. And if they come out to see us in Fort Worth, we take people out to the mobile homes that we own and we show people the attachment points. We show them what the inside looks like. And every time that we've taken somebody in, they're like, this is as nice as my house. So I think it's really cool to be able to buy something as nice as your house that's half the price, has a lot of demand, and it's just clean, safe, affordable places to live.
Give me an idea, guys. Like, what are the all-in investment for an average mobile home deal, and how much rent would you get per month?
I'll take that one. In the Carolinas, Virginia, Georgia, we can be all in a house for $40,000 to $50,000. That's acquisition plus rehab. Those properties are probably going to rent for $900. Okay,
that's good cash flow. So that's a 2% rule.
It's about a 2% rule. And I was going to say this. What made me realize, I'm in a couple of real estate mastermind groups with some of the highest powered guys in the country, right? And they would always just be in awe of my numbers. Right. They go, you don't even know how good you got it, right?
Right.
But like in Texas, it's higher. We're probably $90,000 for the house, but we're leasing the house for probably $1,400 now in Texas. So the numbers work proportionally in all the areas we're in. They work proportionally like that. But, to me, the beauty of it is there's just such little competition. Nobody does what we're doing on a big scale that we know of. Okay. And, it's our investors, the investors love it. The groups I'm in, they prefer ours versus single family houses because of the numbers.
So if one of our success listeners wants more information on Mobile Invested and you guys, what's the best place for them to go get that?
Yeah, so they can check out our website. So it's mobile, MOBILE, vested, VESTED. So just go to our website, Mobile Vested. We've got some free content on there. They can check us out on Facebook. They can email us too at hello@mobilevested.com, and we'll put some kind of links down at the bottom. Yeah, they can check it out and decide for themselves. We have a webinar that's kind of goes into a little bit more detail. A training video. It's about 60 minutes, and it just shows, folks like, what we're doing each day in our business, and we teach people how to do it now for the first time ever. So we'll put those links down below, and they can access that.
So do you guys, are you able to share like a bit of a testimony or some social proof on something somebody has done in the last several months that really has made an impact on their individual life?
I've got one.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I've got one that just comes off the top of my head. We have a student, Casey. He's in Dallas, Fort Worth. He actually sold me his car, or sold me a car, but that's what he was doing. He was in car sales, and he saw it was just a total rat race. So he wanted to go into real estate. So he went into real estate last year. He's been in single family, and it's been a struggle. You know, he's driving an hour to go see somebody's house. They're not there. The prices are too crazy, on and on. So he's found out about what we do. And he said, and I said, hey, we'll do our online class first, see if you like it. And then if you do, we can help you beyond that. And he said, no, I just want to go all in. So Glenn and I got on a call with him last week, I think was our first call with him. And he would send me messages that said, you know, it feels so good to actually have, you know, something exciting to like wake up for. And I was like, so that felt good. But I'm like, you know, I want to see results. Because I mean, you don't have to do a lot to make somebody feel really excited. We want results. So Glenn and I got on the call before we went on our last trip, and we showed him where the mobile homes were in our area. You know, we have heat maps in all these markets. We know where they are. We just can't physically go buy all of them. There's millions of them. So we just show our students how to do it. And so we showed them where to go find the mobile homes and what you know, who to contact. So listen to this. He's on his second call. He pulls the pre-foreclosure list. People are going to foreclosure on October 1st. He pulls the foreclosure list. We're about a week out. Second phone call, he gets a person, and the numbers sound good. They sound right. And he's all excited. He gave me the address and what they owe, pretty quick success. I mean, we were literally like 2 days after the call. I go, Casey, call them back and find out how many calls they've gotten already. Because, you know, if it's a single family public list, everybody and their mama's calling. All the auto dialers. You know how the whole game works.
Mojo dialer, man. I got my mojo.
He was the well, you don't need them with this, but you can keep it, I guess. Then you'll be 10x successful.
That's another story. That's okay.
Yeah, you got a lot of mojo. So he called the lady back, and he goes, how many other investors have called you? And she said, you're the first one.
0. Yeah. It's good.
Yeah, Jim, I want to say something here too. You know, our avatar, you know, and this is what we think. Okay, we think we're timing this right. If there's a guy that has been a successful single family house
girl
or woman, yeah, man or woman, we love them both, of course. Thank you, Max. But we know. If they're set up and they've done it, if they feel like they're getting squeezed, if they implement the same business with our teaching, coaching, they can't miss. We've made a commitment. We're not going to we'll stay with someone until they get their investment back. There's nobody going to lose with us. We're going to create win-wins. If they market, like you take a guy that we don't do postcards. We don't have to, because we go to real estate investment clubs. We say, give us your throwaway leads. We'll pay you $1,000 for when we convert. We get a bunch of deals from realtors too, because we say they don't want to list a home for $20,000, $30,000 to make no money. They give us their pocket listings. So we don't have to work hard for our properties. If we get a single family home investor who really knows what they're doing, they're going to crush it with us. I can tell you that for sure.
I love it. You got a great attitude, Glenn, and 37 years experience. I mean, honestly, I would say you guys are the type of people I would want to do this with. I don't say that. I have never said that on my podcast. So good job. So if any of our success listeners are interested, just go to mobilevested.com or email hello@mobilevested.com for Max or Glenn, correct?
Correct.
Yep.
All right. Any final words? I think it was great today. I mean, you guys provided a lot of value to our success listeners and provided some follow-up for them as well.
How about a free gift?
Sounds good. I'll take one.
All right, let's do it. So for the first 50 people that just reach out and just say, hey, I enjoyed the podcast, you know, way to go. For the first 50 listeners that reach out to us at hello@mobilevested, or you can just me direct if you want, max@mobilevested.com. We've got a book coming out, which is going to be a couple hundred pages of our best stuff. It's our greatest hits of how this whole strategy works. The book will be out soon. And so and it'll be on Amazon, but instead of buying it for $12.99, we'll send you a copy to the first 50 people for free. Just a free gift. Just tell us where to ship it, and we'll send it to your house, and you can read it and learn about the best kept secret in real estate investing.
Max, we need to get together and have breakfast again.
I would like that.
And Glenn, I need to see you in person again. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too, Jim.
Really appreciate you guys being on today, and I think all of our success listeners got a lot of value out of it. Thanks for helping other real estate investors get rolling. I think the mobiles on land is a great asset class, and it's a perfect fit for a lot of people. So thanks for doing that.
Thank you, Jim, and you're awesome, man. Seriously.
Hey, all of our success listeners, you guys are rock stars. I appreciate all the comments, the likes, the reactions, the shares, the reviews, all that. If you have a question, just leave it in the comments. And be sure to reach out to hello@mobileinvesting.com today. Grab your free gift from Max and Glenn. Connect with them on social media as well. They're truly just great guys who I highly recommend. So thanks, everybody. Have a great week, and I appreciate you being a listener of the Real Estate Success Podcast. Have a great day, everybody.